2024 was a very interesting year for Street Fighter 6. We finally got our hands on the highly anticipated Akuma, and even an unexpected appearance from SNK's very own Terry Bogard. But those very hype additions to the game were very slim to none. We got very little to no new colors for the entire roster, and the highly anticipated Outfit 4 is still nowhere to be found after over a year of no costume. But hey, at least you got a ton of new avatar costumes to choose from, right? Even though Street Fighter 6 had a pretty dry year from a content perspective, I think there's a good reason why. 2025 will have some of the biggest updates we've ever seen for a lot of fighting games, and that includes Street Fighter 6. Let's get into why and what we can expect from Capcom later this year. For those of you who don't know, for every one Street Fighter game, there's 3 to 4 different updated and more expanded versions of that base game, which most people call the vanilla version. Every third year, like clockwork, from Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5, these games would receive huge expansions that most people would agree drastically changed every aspect of those games, which was called Super Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition. Now that we're in the third year of Street Fighter 6, it's time to talk about what kind of content could we expect from this game's first ever big expansion, Super Street Fighter 6. With the new Street Fighter expansions, there were massive design changes from brand new in-game HUDs and art to completely new music and sometimes even a whole new aesthetic. With Street Fighter 6, however, I doubt we'll see a massive aesthetic change like Second Impact or Third Strike, but we'll get some big UI changes in the same style that we currently have. More than likely, we'll get brand new music for the main menus and the character select screens, so I'm praying for Capcom to, at the very least, get some brand new artists or even Infinite from the Third Strike OST to do the music for the game. Like, come on, Capcom, please make that happen for your boy. Usually, these big updates aren't just a fresh coat of paint on the exterior though. We usually get a ton of brand new colors and costumes to choose from for the entire roster. But I have a feeling Capcom might take a different approach from the usual, I believe. For the first time, Street Fighter 6 might actually, best case scenario, will receive a color editor. This would technically be the first time that Capcom has ever done a color editor for their fighting games, with the exception of Street Fighter Cross Tekken. A color editor would essentially allow you to take certain aspects of a character's base design or costume and change colors on each different part of the costume. This is very similar to what City of the Wolves is currently doing, and I think Capcom would like to follow suit. Worst case scenario, they decide not to do it and we get a brand new set of colors for the entire roster. However way they go about it, it's a win-win for the consumer overall. It's about time we talk about the big elephant in the room. Capcom has been holding these skins hostage for over a year, but I think with the Super update, we'll finally get to see the newest costumes for every character. Hopefully, this time around, the skins aren't as expensive as the last ones, or at the very least, come in packs that make it easier for the consumer to invest into. But in terms of what kind of costumes they would add, I have no clue. I couldn't even begin to speculate what kind of skins they would add for each character. But if Outfit 2 and 3 are anything to go off of, they'll most likely look absolutely fire. With the expansions added to Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5, they came with some new mechanics that drastically changed how you played every character on the roster, and updates to already existing mechanics. Street Fighter 4 received new Ultra Combo moves for the whole roster, along with Red Focus Attack. Street Fighter 5 received new V skills and V triggers, along with V Shift, a new defensive mechanic to help it get around insanely offensive pressure. With the amount of mechanics in Street Fighter 6 though, I can't begin to theorize what crazy mechanic that Capcom could come up with to add to this game. However, I do think we'll see some massive changes to mechanics that currently exist, such as drive rush and drive reversal. Brand new level 3 supers though, with how crazy the animations could get for these supers, it'd be a shot in the dark if we actually receive new supers for every single character in the roster, but who knows, this is Capcom we're talking about. World Tour has received tons of new updates via character releases, with each DLC character adding a brand new location to the game, but it's usually on a much smaller scale. But what if Capcom has something much bigger planned for World Tour? There's currently 2 big locales in World Tour, Metro City and Nashal. Capcom could add a whole new city entirely, like Southtown from Fatal Fury, or even Tokyo, Japan from Rival Schools. There's a ton of options Capcom could choose from that I think World Tour heads will honestly love. Just chill on the avatar costumes. Like, y'all can add whatever y'all want. Just don't add more avatar costumes, please. At least for right now. The next biggest thing Capcom can add to this game outside of adding an entirely new mechanic is adding new moves and or supers to the entire roster. Remember when I said earlier that I don't see them adding new supers to the game because of how insane they are animation wise? Well, that was before I remembered that Capcom actually added new supers and moves to the game right under our noses. In the Giant Attack events, Bison and Akuma both have almost completely different movesets from the in-game versions we're able to use, including entirely new supers. Adding brand new moves and supers to every single character could drastically change so much from a gameplay perspective that can potentially turn a really bad matchup into a favorable one. Design rebrand, new colors, color editor, outfit 4, new mechanics, system updates, huge World Tour expansions, and new moves and new supers. This is everything that we have so far that could actually be included in Super Street Fighter 6. Is there anything else that could be added to this game in the first ever big expansion? Let me know in the comment section. There might be something I probably missed. Now, in terms of pricing, I think it would be structured the same exact way that Street Fighter V is being structured. Street Fighter V Arcade Edition was actually a free update entirely, but if you wanted the extra bells and whistles, you could drop an extra 15 bones. That comes with a lot of costumes, colors, stages that you didn't buy prior, and there'll most likely be a physical version that you can buy entirely if you've never bought Street Fighter 6 before. We'll see what happens. We got a couple months until Street Fighter 6's anniversary. Let me know how y'all feel about Street Fighter 6 currently in the comments section. Love every single one of y'all. Stay safe, peace, and love y'all.